एक रुका हुआ फैसला was a Indian drama movie in 1986 by Basu Chatterjee. Pankaj Kapoor was one of the cast. I could think of an apt name for the condition, the situation where we are right now in the Indian equity markets. Today, the Nifty gained 60 points. We'll take it, no complaints. And the supports, the anticipated supports of 17,350, 17,450 did manage to hold at least for a day. Good evening, traders. 23rd of November 2021, 9 minutes past 8 p.m. And we'll quickly take a look at the Nifty Bank Nifty. We'll scan the Nifty 200 stocks for prospective trading bets tomorrow. I hope that you've been trading well, and you've, especially those long only traders, have not seen much of a damage to your portfolio in the recent fall. So what is this Ruka Hua Faisla? It's essentially, is this it? Are we done with the correction? Is the 7350 450 zone the strong supports, and we are heading back towards 18k? That's a very important question, I think, back of everyone's mind, because and proper answer, some clarity to this question will definitely help us to decide upon our views on the market and expected trades. So let's take up step by step. Number one, we had two levels of supports we were talking about. One is completely taken care of on the downside, and the other one is holding well. You would recall that we had spoken about this big block of volumes, this chunk, and we are expecting some supports. And let's not celebrate right now. We've just had 1 day bounce back, which anyways we see after 4-5 days of correction, so no big deal. When I drop this volume profile over the last 5 days, it's quite encouraging that the point of control is towards the lower half. It's around 17,450, which is a good thing, and this good thing can get reflected in the 75-minute time frame, which you can see that over here, as we had traded yesterday and today, we've got some decent volumes. Decent volumes at lower prices is always a good thing. This is the volume profile of the entire movement, and this is the volume profile over the last 5 days. We see a confluence of previous lows. The VWAP has also come in close. We've got a okay kind of a bounce back. The short-term trend is still down, and if this move extends further up, then yes, a possible 17,600 towards 17,700 should not be discounted, but it's too early. It's too early to comment on that. Taking a look at the Heikin-Ashi candles, looks all right. Taking a look at RSI, not bad after a nice little 2-bar divergence, a bounce back. Volatility on an average has gone up a little bit, the 21 period ATR above the 1 standard deviation. So right now where we are, where we have closed, it's not easy, but whenever it's not easy, it's always safer to go with the underlying trend, and the short-term underlying trend is down, and so we should give it a little bit of more time to see whether there's enough strength in the market or not. And if that fails, if we do not get to see that kind of extension on the downside, then we are surely heading further again towards 17,300. But I would say we are well divided right now. It's very difficult to take a call on that. Maybe a look at the top 17 stocks can give us some clue, but we need little more price action to decide upon our immediate views. As of now, I would say 60% bearish, going with the underlying trend, and 40% expecting a little bit of more upsides. Levels, the current lows, of course, remains as the short-term support, and on the other hand, on the flip side, upside, 17,700, 17,800 kind of zone will act as our immediate resistance. We have a nice point of control, as you can see here. I'll zoom it out. This one is our resistance. So highly possible for the rest of the week we get stuck between this blue zone and this red zone. We'll see. Bank Nifty, this is the 75-minute time frame, and the 161.8 kind of has been completely taken care of. It's been met. Let's take a look at the daily chart first. And what do we have? We have the index just slowing down. It's an inside bar on the daily charts, which is very likely after yesterday's fall. This blue band, that's where we have closed. It's got some volume profile in it, and any kind of further correction can find support at this blue band. Looking at the RSI, it's not very encouraging. It's not a very pretty picture. It shows like a typical short-term bounce back in a well-defined downtrend, and the definition of a downtrend in this chart is phenomenal. It's a very strong short-term downtrend. Let it extend further up. If it does, we'll see how it sustains. But on the upside, 37,900, 38,000 maximum are the resistances. Very unlikely it probably will find the strength towards that. If it does, we'll take it, but stay with the trend. Please stay with the trend and wait for further signs of strength before you get into some buying mode. This is not the buying mode either on the Bank Nifty or the Nifty. I think the best thing to do is let the price develop itself further. Sectors, all positive in today's session. Metal led the rally, but if it fails to take out 5760, 5800 on the upside, you probably have to brace yourself for some serious weakness, because if the current lows break, then the moving averages will open up, and yes, that will lead to significant correction for the metals. The public sector enterprises in a nice uptrend, holding at its previous swing lows. Pretty decent move today. It's a bullish engulfing. PSU banks, all right. Bank Nifty is one of the least performing sectors, as you can see, with the private sector banks. Private sector banks are nice. It's a very interesting, nice level where the index lies. 13.5% correction is not bad for the private sector banks. This serious correction that we dealt with during the Feb was around 18.5%, so not bad. Should bottom out here for a short-term bounce back. All eyes, ICICI and HDFC Bank. Amongst the others, energy manages a bounce. Small and mid caps are also doing okay. If you notice that we looked at a couple of sectoral indices which are at, you can call them make or break kind of levels, because if this breaks, it will turn down, and we saw that, I think, in metals also. So many sectors will be at very important juncture in relation to its current lows. So careful. We've had a correction, and this correction can lead to further weakness. As we discuss the markets tonight, 17 minutes past 8 p.m. looking at the SGX, it's just flat. There's nothing in it. Completely flat SGX, trading at 17,500, but it's the Dow Jones, or I would rather say the S&P 500, which gave you a pretty sharp sell-off in yesterday's session. This was a typical, let me just refresh. This was a typical breakout failure. You don't get any better than this in terms of failures. A wonderful gap up, breakout, sucked in all the final last buyers and immediately reversed, and the lows are broken. This is not good sign. This is definitely not a good sign. Generally, these kind of movements lead to top ups, top outs, and the Dow Jones have also slipped significantly. So we have to keep a closer look at the global markets going forward. But SGX at 17,500, nothing much to take from there. Let's go to the Iris software and just quickly scan the 200 stocks, and let's see if anything stands out. JSW Steel, I think we spoke about, did perform good in today's trade. I don't know if you've managed to trade that bullish Rami pattern. Inside bar, Apollo Hospital, beautiful trending counter. All right. Nestle, no, I wouldn't be interested. The range expansion over the last few days disappoints me. Indian Hotel, yes, looks good, promising. It's kind of a symmetrical triangle, and the length of the inside bars, that is Today and tomorrow's range is slightly higher compared to the monthly range. Not a very good inside bar. This is better. Bata definitely is a better inside bar with some very good range contraction. Fortis, no. Godrej Consumers is in a downtrend and it's got some divergence behind it, so you can get a quick short-term bounce back above 920. This is a contrarian, Godrej Consumers, and Bata is a swing. So two interesting picks, I would say. IRCTC is a typical breakout counter above 920. Manappuram, no, please. High momentum sell-off, stay away. Endurance, range expansion, VBL, nope, Z, never liked it. So amongst the inside bars, I would suggest IRCTC for breakout, Godrej Consumers for a contrarian short-term bounce back, reversion to mean kind of a trade, and Bata. I think these three stands out good. Bullish bearish Rami pattern, Indus Tower, flat trend, no. Bosch, too small of a downtrend to comment. Nestle, flat trend. MRF, not bad. The lows are holding. This will be very, very critical for the stocks. 75,000, 75,100 on the downside. If these lows break, the stock is gone for a significant amount of time. Do not trade this based on this bullish Rami pattern as of now. Let's see if we can get some better picks. No, this range has moved away. In fact, it looks like almost like a hammer, but it's got some upside shadows. All India, NAM, Nippon Asset Management, PFC looks interesting. PFC looks really interesting. I've got a pretty decent correction, some 6 bars, 7 bars continuous fall on the candles. Deeply oversold recently. Got a crossover on my stochastics. Nice bullish Rami pattern, spinning top, move above 128 in the spot market, and you should get a movement, short-term movement on the upside. Fortis, no. Sanofi, completely range bound. Ipca Lab also looks interesting, but range has expanded for the 2 days. Not good for intraday trading. Indigo, gutsy, possible, but PFC better. Natco Pharma is a very good counter for a long-term cash market portfolio, but from a trading bet, it's a pretty interesting phase. It's got some divergence behind it. It's got a beautiful doji, so a move above 822. Yes, possible. Indian Bank, no. IDFC range expansion. DMart, not so well poised because of the big range that we saw yesterday. So amongst the bullish bearish Rami pattern, I would say PFC definitely stood out. Natco Pharma also was an interesting play. Breakout counters, do we have any stocks which can give us a breakout? I would be looking for, this is interesting, though it's in a downtrend. PI Industries is a typical breakout counter above its previous swing highs. The highs of 29, 32, 33. Hero Motor, nope. ONGC struggling. IRCTC, we just spoke about it. Yes, it is a breakout counter above the recent highs. JSW Energy also has moved pretty well. Not a breakout counter immediately. Manappuram, no. Cummins, ITC, Natco, we just spoke about. Indigo, we also spoke about. I would say PI Industries is the one which looks like a typical breakout counter. Quick look at the delivery percentage, and I generally look at volumes, delivery volumes of a lakh minimum and 70% of delivery percentages. Yesterday we got some 3 big large caps. Let's see what comes up today. We've got Axis Bank, very likely because the stock was correcting for a significant long span of time and price. So yes, now probably we will start to see some kind of accumulation picking up in Axis Bank. Let me just get the chart in place. This was the weekly, this is daily. HDFC, Hindustan Unilever, we had both the stocks I think in yesterday. So was Infosys. Tatacom, yes, good stock, good quality stock, and it is also on the weekly charts the selling is slowing down, so this can also be a good bounce back candidate from a cash market perspective. And then we have trend. Not really, I'm not too convinced with the short-term correction in trend. I think Axis, HDFC, Hindustan Unilever, Tatacom definitely will be an interesting counter. Oracle long, Oracle shorts are short-term intraday, in fact, breakout candidates. What I'll be looking for is an inside bar wherein yesterday's range was not significantly long, which will be very difficult to find because yesterday's range expansion was throughout the market, throughout the stocks, and getting a good Oracle long breakout candidate on the upside will not be easy because inside bars in today's trade will be very likely. Can Bank look interesting. You can go with Can Bank, Canara Bank, and then amongst the others, Bata is also one that looks promising. Indian Bank, no. Larsen did go through a correction, not really. I think Canara Bank looks pretty decent amongst the Oracle long setups. Shorts, these are all intraday. Thani break below today's low, not really. Escorts is slowing down. It's an exceptionally strong counter, so any kind of shorts over here will be you're dealing with contrarian trade. And then we have Indus Tower. I think Escorts is the one, but it's risky. So we've got unlike yesterday, today we have some bit of stocks coming up for some hope on the upside, but I'm not too hopeful right now. I don't want to sound bearish, but I don't want to motivate the bulls that this is it, go for it. It can go further up. There is some room and space and scope. 17,500, I would say 17,600 to 17,700 will be a very interesting zone. Let's see. Price is the final decider. But remember, if you see signs of selling on the screen tomorrow and you see that there is hesitancy from the price to sustain above 17,500 levels, it's not a bad idea to stay cautious, stay low, and probably look for shorts again. Let's see. I hope you've been trading well. I hope you've been taking good care of yourself as well. As always, trade well, trade wise.